Westbrook took one in the chest right here. That's a standing 8 count, right?
Good act.
Denver 1-2, then 1-1. These two teams met at the conference semifinals in the Western Conference last year. Minnesota won the first 2 games in Denver. Denver came back, won the next 2 in Minnesota, and then Game 7 proved to be historic with Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves coming back from down 20. They walked down the reigning champs. Let's take a look at who's ruling the court, brought to you by Burger King, and a monument to the prolific ways of Nikola Jokic so far. Look what he did Thursday against Sacramento. I saw it courtside with my own eyes. 35, 22, and 17. He and Wilt Chamberlain are the only ones ever to get a 35-20 quarter, Tim Lakeland.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards knows he's going to draw attention on the perimeter, and this is what he has really improved, finding teammates for easy baskets.
We'll be back with more after this. Level offensive execution in that first quarter.
Now you see Denver, both teams operating very high level offensively, over 60% from the field.
Our Emirates fly better. Dillingham comes off the screen. Man, he's locked. Back after this. Hey, don't forget, after our game here, the Boston Celtics and Jason Tatum arriving at the arena in Dallas, taking on the Mavericks. Then in primetime at 8:30 Eastern, LeBron James and the Lakers facing Steph Curry and the Warriors. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Dave Cash, Richard Jefferson, Cassidy Hubbard on the call with that Boston-Dallas game. And then still, they put 71 on the board. Their most first-half points this season against their former rival from last year's playoffs. That's the end of the first half here in Minneapolis. The Hotels.com halftime is next, coming up after these messages.
Earlier today, Victor Wembanyama in action in Paris. Stephen A., 7'5" and doing that?
Yes, he can do that. Shoot 35% from three-point range. I mean, I got to give love where it's due, even at 7 feet 5.
Not a good shot, Kurt. Not a good shot.
Well, that
was a good shot.
He drives to the inside.
Steph and Wembanyama a little different.
Oh, attack the basket. That's what I like to see, getting downhill.
Wemby had 17 points in the first half in this one, but this really was the Pacers game.
Of course, I mean, Halliburton and their brothers have been playing good basketball as of late. Let's see if it keeps up.
We'll have your halftime show coming up right after this.
Welcome to the Hotels.com halftime.
It's time to check out today's halftime highlights, brought to you by Hotels.com. It seems like every game, Bob's, he has a no-look pass.
I want to hear about damn point guard.
Combo guard.
This halftime report is presented by Hotels.com. Find your perfect somewhere in the Hotels.com app. Welcome back to the Hotels.com halftime.
Jaylen Brown getting set for our 2024 Finals rematch. That's coming up next here on ABC. Perk, we know that the Mavericks are really shorthanded in this one. What'll it take for them to make this interesting? Here in this first half, cleared for takeoff. Second half coming up after this.
By the way you see.
This halftime report is presented by Hotels.com. Find your perfect somewhere in the Hotels.com app. This presentation of NBA Saturday Primetime, presented by Wingstop, will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Root for Minnesota. They flipped the script on Denver in terms of some of their fast breaking, too.
as well as they can play offensively in the first half. And Minnesota preyed upon the weaknesses of the Denver Nuggets. 46 points in the paint in that first half. They also were able to force turnovers, get out and run. That was a concern of Michael Malone as well. And then the offensive rebounding.
This copyrighted broadcast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the NBA. ESPN Bet is the official sportsbook of ESPN. Get in on trending parlays, daily profit boost, and exclusive talent markets all season long. Scan the QR code and sign up for ESPN Bet to claim your new player bonus. Plus, get your first 30 days of ESPN Plus on us.
Hey, next week's NBA Wednesday doubleheader features these Denver Nuggets right here taking on the Knicks in Madison Square Garden, followed by Steph Curry and the Warriors hosting the top team in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder, at 10 p.m. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. A great night of basketball on ESPN. OKC.
Minnesota firing on all cylinders, converting in the open court. Nikola Jokic, great decision.
"44 games into this season, it's a different story than a season ago when they were battling for the top spot in the Western Conference. But this year, a different story, Tim. Just 13 and 16 in clutch time. That's usually when unfamiliarity shows up, right?
Yeah, and shot making has to happen, and Chris Finch was honest about it. He said, we just don't shoot the ball well enough in those spots. 25.
He's got 20. Edwards has 27. Julius Randle lines up the seams on Mr. Wilson there. That's the end of the third quarter here in Minneapolis. Back with more after these messages and word from your local ABC station.
I'm Malika Andrews. Let's take a look at tonight's Perfect Combo, brought to you by Wingstop. A perfect combo, it's like you and me, Perk, or like Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner.
Oh, you don't want to drop a dime like that to a puppy. You want a big dog.
So that was a big dog dunk, is what you're saying.
Damn so would.
Pacers win big in Paris, 136-98. Let's get you back to Minneapolis after this.
When two opposing forces meet, something has to give. When tectonic plates shift, the ground shakes. Battles for dominance intensify amongst adversaries. Serendipitous collisions create vicious reactions that you must see to believe. The world's leading minds have many names for these cataclysmic events. The National Basketball Association calls it Rivals Week. Do not miss it.
NBA Saturday Primetime on ABC is presented by Wingstop. Bring the flavor.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, we have a jump ball because the challenge was successful. Hey, coming up after our game, the Boston Celtics taking on the Dallas Mavericks, an NBA Finals rematch. Then in prime time at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, LeBron James and the Lakers facing Steph and the Warriors. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Dave Pasch on the call with Richard Jefferson, Cassidy Hubbard next. The Boston Celtics. And Jason Tatum, recently named an all-star starter, taking on the Dallas Mavericks. And Kyrie Irving. There's a look at the reigning NBA Finals. 1,000-watt smile was smiling on the Timberwolves and their fans today as they win it going away. Two more games to come right here on ABC, though, for Tim Legler and Katie George and talented people behind the camera you never get a chance to see. I'm Mark Jones. It was that kind of night for Ant-Man here in Minneapolis. After a break, we'll join Malika Andrews in the studio. So long from Minnesota.